Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Ben Bateman.
And I'm Andrew Ghai.
And we are
the Action Guys.
It's kind of lame when we do that.
I know,
but I'm used to it now.
I was actually going to say in the last episode, it's like feels so dumb, but
right.
We're like, it sounds good though.
But it's who we are.
It's who we are.
What's up, everybody? We're here to talk to you about we're here to talk about a sweet subject today.
We're here to talk to you about a subject that we both love.
And that subject is the secret art to the perfect movie trailer. Now, we've been watching trailers our entire life. I mean, since I was a young boy, a lad, we would get VHS tapes. The coming attraction section on the VHS tapes were very memorable.
My mom's favorite part of going to the movies is the trailers. Still.
In an era before you could watch movie trailers online, before YouTube in the 90s, movie trailers were like a thing that they just had to put on VHS tapes and in theaters to get you to see the movie. There was no art to it. There was no formula that people talked about.
I had movies that I would actually go and watch the trailers of a specific VHS, not even the movie.
Yeah.
I just remember loving and knowing trailers were on this movie, so I would go watch that and then rewind it. And then, you know what I mean? So a very special trailer just came out, which kind of inspired the idea behind this episode.
And that is the trailer for Avengers Endgame. Unbelievable trailer. This trailer got me so excited.
Oh my, I was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was like at 7 or 8 p.m. at night in Tokyo when it dropped. And I was yelling in my hotel room.
Yeah.
My friend was like actually getting ready in the restroom, and I was yelling out of excitement, like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
like it just kept getting better and better. It was so emotional. Yeah, like when I drift away, I'll think of you.
Yeah,
It's always you. Oh my god!
We now live in a world where a trailer dropping is a fraction of the excitement of a big movie dropping, but it's still like such a big deal. Like the trailer for this movie drops this day. That didn't exist back in the day.
Yeah, that's so true. It's an event now.
It's an event.
It's a huge event.
People react. There are trailer reactions on YouTube that get millions and
way
millions
more views
of
than
hits.
this show's going to get.
It's a great trailer. I was so hyped. I mean, so it's a funny thing. So one of our good friends, Matt Haggerty, he was the second AD on this film.
Yeah.
This one and Infinity War. And he just moved to Atlanta to work on it. He's been there for 2 years working on it. And he was like, I was like, Hags, when's the next trailer coming out? You'll find out. Because this is like how professional Hags is. 2 years of working on this. We have asked him every question you could ever ask.
Every question, even like the smallest, dumbest ones, like if Captain America were going to eat a donut in the movie, what kind of donut would it be like? I can't tell you.
He just laughs.
He just laughs.
Yeah.
He's never given us one piece of information. He wouldn't tell us the name of the sequel. He wouldn't tell us anything.
I mean, nothing. So he was like, here's what I can't figure out.
He's not even our friend anymore.
I can't figure out if he was like, how are they going to show this trailer without spoiling the movie?
Right.
There's no way you can show this movie in trailer form without spoiling it. And they managed to not really spoil much of anything. There's a couple reveals in there, but like on the whole, it's the right length. It's excellent.
It's like all the things you feel are coming. Like you feel Downey's departation from the franchise. You feel like you look at Evans and you look at Thor and they look so sad. You're like, oh my god, are you all gonna die? Like what is happening? And then like you just get the quick hand of Thanos.
Yeah,
like
and you
in
get
his fields.
Yeah, and then you get obviously the humor at the end with Ant-Man. So
yeah.
That is what we're going to talk about today, guys. We are going to be talking to you guys about what makes a great trailer, the history of great trailers, the guys that did the voices of the trailers, some of our favorite trailers. Stick with us as we break that down for y'all. Coming up in just a second. So
we're back.
I love movie trailers. I'm like, and I love that there is such a history to it. It's a hilarious history
because they follow a very specific formula. And just to go on to piggyback on what you said, movie trailers are a big part of our friendship.
Oh, huge. Yeah. Watched a lot of them.
We watch a lot of them together, and like every now and then when we're just inebriated enough, we'll just watch like 15 of our favorite trailers.
So back like 4 months ago, we did this drunk watch along. And
the footage will never. I was like, we should just air it. And you're like, what about this, and this? I was like, we should never air that. That can never see the light of day.
We watched Mission Impossible 3. We took a poll with our fans. We had wonderful fans, friends at this point, Paul Denuzzo and Richard Eric Jarvie, who made us custom glasses with our names on them, AMA glasses.
And they sent a bottle of Lagavulin 16, which is one of your favorite scotches, period.
Yours too, I believe.
Yeah, and it's very, very good.
We drank the entire bottle of 16 during the film. and more, and more. And
Then we went out to dinner and
then
drank more.
I drank more. It was the drunkest I've been in I can't tell you how long. And somewhere towards the end, after the movie had wrapped, we kept the stream going and just started watching trailers.
Yes.
And just wasted, just speaking along with the
Oh God! this part, and then the face.
Yeah,
That's the face from Interstellar.
Yeah. Don't comment asking for the footage. It will never be released.
And if you have the footage, burn it.
Yeah, please don't post it. So anyway, guys, but we've watched a lot of movie trailers.
Oh, speaking of talking about things and asking people not to post them, there was a very, very overweight, sweaty picture of me on the internet that I asked not to be posted from Action Movie Anatomy.
I wouldn't use the word overweight.
It's one of our
robust.
I was robust. I was fuller than I am now.
Generous.
My body type was on most questionnaires. I would just check the box that said generous.
Have you ever heard of the film Real Women Have Curves? I mean,
I was second runner-up for the lead.
In any case, guys, today we are going to talk to you about movie trailers. And I think it's important to start with how long have trailers been around for? What did they used to be like? Because we're living in a world now where there are these events and we're very used to them. They're very dialed in. Like there's a structure to a movie trailer now that feels like watching a piece of art. It feels like a movie in itself in a lot of cases. Some of them are better than the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's happened a handful of times. And yeah, the movie is almost like a short, nuanced like art film that like tells you just enough, but like the best ones don't really tell you anything. I don't think. You know, like we were just watching. You know, one of the most famous ones from the last 10 years is the No Country for Old Men trailer.
Yeah,
and what I think is fascinating about that is they show so much of the payoff of the action, but they don't show the lead up.
Yeah.
And so you don't really care when you just see the car crash all of a sudden in the trailer. You don't really know that it's happening like right after he killed the wife and is leaving and like, you know, what that implies and how bad the wreck actually is. You got a bone sticking out of your arm, mister.
It's like cool. It's like cool sound effects, you know, cool like pieces of music, not necessarily from the movie, mixed with confusing, vague imagery and kind of moody, dark. Like that's what the modern day good trailer usually is.
And they take like some of the most intriguing lines or interesting lines from the film, you know, like like the bubonic plague. You're like, oh, who talks like that? I want to know more about this guy.
This character.
Yeah.
So I think we can both agree that kind of the era of the modern movie trailer has sort of come in the last 8 to 10 years. I'd say like it starts around then, but the one that really stands out for me is Inception. I think actually we'll go back to kind of the beginning before we get into the modern stuff.
Okay, so like all the way back to like let's start in like the 60s because that was like there were always movie trailers, but that's when they started kind of having more voiceover and
I mean if you go back to like the 30s, like if you go to like a trailer for like Gone with the Wind or something like that, I mean they had advertisements for them. Like they would advertise movies at the beginning in theaters.
Humphrey Bogart.
But there was no VHS. You didn't have home video. There was no way to watch movies. They would air stuff on television sometimes to get you excited to see a movie, but it was just a different world. Like you really don't get into the concept of a movie trailer selling the movie in like really not till the 70s or 80s. But if you go back to like the 60s, take like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid or something. Yeah,
or like the Searchers, because we covered that on Action Movie Anatomy.
Yeah, right.
It's like very much like it's kind of like the talkie guy that used to do the movies, but he's not quite as fast.
Yeah, right. He's like Paul Newman is Butch Cassidy.
Yeah.
Robert Redford is
the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
And then it's like cut to quick line of like, I don't know if we should use that much dynamite.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is gonna be fun. Yeah. You know, and like and the voice is interesting because that voice there's always a narrator voice, right? There's like a specific movie trailer voice. It's never just been like a normal person. Like I would have to talk like this, or but I could never actually get a job as the movie trailer guy. And even back to then, it was like this just like, it wasn't a real voice. Like I said, it's like the talkies. Like, this is what's going to happen next. And Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, you should come see it now.
Yeah, it was almost like they weren't trying to give you an experience at all. They weren't trying to make you feel anything or expect anything. They were trying to just show you the parts of the movie that they thought were the most exciting.
And like the most fun.
And tell you who was in it.
Yep.
That's it.
Because that's what you would go see movies, right? Because that was like, I mean, obviously we're getting in, we've talked about like, you and I have had this conversation many times about Tom Cruise being like the last living movie star.
Right.
And, you know, it's still arguable, but that was it back then. Right. That was why you saw movies. It was just because John Wayne was in another movie. You didn't need anything else.
Right.
You know?
Totally. So that's like sort of the old, anywhere between the 40s, 50s, 60s, and some of the 70s. It starts to change a little in the 70s because you have genre filmmaking that starts getting a little more prominent in the mainstream. So you have like, take for instance, Rocky in 76, a sports movie, wins Best Picture. You have, you know, Alien in 79, it's like a horror movie that's like regarded as a classic. It's very sci-fi. It's very self-serious and kind of frightening. It's not like 2001 Space Odyssey. So the genre filmmaking starts to become a little bit more forefront. And I think for that reason, they had to find different ways to market these movies.
And like this guy's voice was like something was always really wrong. It's like what it sounded like. Even if he was talking about something happy.
Yeah, right.
You know, like this man is going to fight.
Like we talked about, we watched the First Blood trailer from '82, and like
and that still feels like the older ones for sure.
Yeah. But there's that distinct era in the late '70s into the '80s where that guy's voice and you know, it's what it is that the trailers back then were trying to, with voiceover, provide all of the movie's exposition. They would just tell you the story of the movie. You know, like one man that's been pushed too far and they don't give a damn.
Yeah, you're like they're kind of just showing me that in the trailer, and then like things will pop up on the screen like the one man. It would like one man would come and they'd be like one man.
It's like, couldn't Dennehy just say I don't give a damn and just show him saying it as opposed to the voiceover having to say?
Well, because he also does say it. He's like, so we have a problem if he's like, yeah, I do, or whatever he says in the trailer. It's like he does say it. But it's like, just in case you weren't sure.
They're just beating you over the head with it. Yeah. And some of it is that some of it is that like First Blood was not a movie. No, that movie was starring Rocky. He at that point he had done 2 Rockies already. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and I think it was like, because now we know our buddy Jason, which is ironically Matt Haggerty's roommate. Yeah. He refuses to watch trailers because he feels like they give away too much. This is the generation where they gave away too much. Like it was like, here's the whole movie. Here's Rambo. He's in it, and we're using this Rambo because it's like very specific to this type of trailer. Right. It's like, here he is. He's this guy in this situation, but he breaks out of this situation. Now they're chasing him, and now they're in the forest. You're like, this is the whole fucking movie. Yeah. I literally see the whole movie.
I think so. One of the big things is that like in the 70s, it was similar to like the 60s, and the 80s, the beginning of the 80s has the same thing where the whole trailer once again is useless exposition to narrate it, and then just in a different style. It's not the talkie guy anymore. It's a different voice that's trying to be more dramatic.
Yes, he's trying to like really make you care or be nervous or whatever.
But they want you to know that like you're in for a good time if you see this movie because it's going to feel the way that movies in this genre feel. So let's tell you about it. Yeah. You know, and that's a lot of what that 70s sort of style of filmmaking is.
You know the One Man Against the World movie, right?
Yeah. Like it's another movie about one man against the world.
Oh, honey, I love movies like this. We should go to the movie this Friday. Yeah, it's exactly that.
But like, so then the 90s guy who's like, this guy's my favorite.
This guy likes to speak in riddles.
Yeah. This is so the 90s formula, and a lot of this comes from Bruckheimer. You can tie this, you can literally tie this to 86, Top Gun, makes all the money. Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer figure out if we make these movies that are over the top, but everybody in them takes themselves extraordinarily seriously.
Really seriously.
And then the narrator of the film is going to take himself just as seriously. And the pacing is very consistent. So like one of my favorites is Crimson Tide. It's a great trailer. Yeah. Starts out and like he's Hackman's giving the speech.
Does it start with the music?
Yeah,
like something like not that.
I can't remember the music, but it's like it's a shot of him giving the speech. Go Bama, Roll Tide.
Well, I was gonna say because also in the '90s trailers they start off a lot of them with like that kind of like kind of like a lighthearted kind of inspirational song. Yeah. So anyway,
and the submarine goes down. And then it goes, you hear, dun, 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 yes. And the voice is like, what we've always known becomes what we've always feared.
Yes.
And that's the voice where you're like, this guy, but the funny part was we were watching like through some old trailers, and I wish that I could remember. No, I do remember. It was Stepmom. And it's like, this holiday season. Yes. Sometimes the person you can't live with becomes the person you can't live without.
You can't live without.
And it's like, what kind of movie is this? Is this someone going to die? Is there going to be an explosion? I don't know. This guy just knows how to deliver lines like this.
Like so intensely, because it's also like, it's like, there's another one that's our favorite is The Edge. He's like, a photographer with an eye for beauty.
A man who lives through books.
You're like, are you oh my God, is that guy, is he a pedophile? Is he a creep? Is he following women around?
That guy is far and away my favorite. Now, he's often confused with the Home Alone Terminator 2 guy.
Right.
He's a little less like old. That 90s guy feels like he's kind of your really, really, really like warm, loving uncle.
Yeah, but he's also like doesn't have anything going for him, so that he tries to make everything sound really intense.
He also is the guy that when he delivers the season, he sounds the best. This holiday season,
this spring,
this summer, he's the best at delivering that line. But the other guy, the Home Alone Terminator 2 guy,
you might just learn something about yourself.
The Terminator 2 guy is like more of like they're in trouble.
Like he's not quite. Because he's like one, or what does he say? He's like same make,
same model.
New mission.
Yeah, he's not quite as nasally as the guy from the 70s.
Yeah,
but he's like, he's not quite as like grand. The 90s guy feels like he could narrate anything from like Congo to What Dreams May Come.
Yeah, and also like maybe like an infomercial. Yeah, because he's not too intense. But then he also in Congo. Because like imagine the later guy being a diamond mine of incredible bounty. Yeah, like it would be. That's why the 90s one is perfect because he's like.
He's the best, yeah.
What does he say? What are some of the other ones from the Congo trailer?
Oh, we'll get to the Congo trailer.
There. Yeah.
It's my literal favorite trailer of all time. Yeah. But yeah, so like that's the 90s is the golden age because it's them taking all the concepts and principles that make the movies themselves good.
Yes.
Just kind of slow-mo, really dramatic music, this voiceover sort of thing.
Change. There's usually a change in tone. It'll start either happy or sad or get and then intense or dark.
Yeah, but then sometime around the turn of the century, when you get in around 2000, this is the really dark period of the modern era because I think what happened was that style of trailer burnt out.
Yeah.
And they had to go into this new. So if you watch the trailer for Gladiator, the Born Identity, the Matrix,
they like it's like maybe they didn't think it went out of style yet. Maybe they thought they just needed to double down on it or something. Because it's just like the Matrix one is one of the best examples. Yeah. Like it's super high paced. It seems like a really really bad music video.
Yeah,
and it's like the things that come up on the screen are a joke. Like the one
you live your life. It's like and it's all written on the screen. It's like you go to work and it's like. As a slave.
And you're like, Jesus
It's all
Christ.
Like written on the screen in green
full
type.
caps, yeah.
You're like, somebody is getting fired.
Yeah, this why is this guy yelling at me? This is one of the best movies ever made. This is one of the worst trailers I've ever seen. Yeah. And for almost all of them, it's not that they're all that bad. It's just they all feel a lot like the movies started to feel in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it was like, you're taking yourself too seriously.
There's a level of darkness they want to achieve. It just doesn't... it doesn't have the grandiose kind of cheeseball excitement that even like the bad 90s ones what's the Matt Kearns movie about Van Damme and hockey like so much is it Sudden Death?
Yeah, I think so.
Even like the Sudden Death trailer. Like it's all those movies, all those action movies from the 90s, like that was a thing. And so that transition in the early 2000s goes for a while. And if you even watch, like we watched the Revenge of the Sith trailer.
Yeah.
The teaser was sweet, but it wasn't that dramatic. The trailer's not very good.
No, the trailer, like the teaser is way better.
Actually, it doesn't 5, yeah.
And I think it's almost just because it starts off with Alec Guinness talking, and it's just that's why it's good.
Yeah,
But they do start to find the right things instead of being like we talked about. Instead of someone saying or the trailer voice being like he doesn't like him, it's like you get the line from the movie
instead of. For over 1,000 generations, Jedis were the signs of peace.
Right.
It's Alec Guinness saying it, so it's better.
Over thousands of Jedi. Yeah, exactly. And that's part of like that's what they were starting to figure out. So that's what's very interesting is like it does feel like the art of trailers has been something that's been ever evolving. And now it feels like they've cracked the code for real.
Well, there are trailer awards now. So I think right after that 05, like it's transitioning out of the crappy, like probably realistically how that stuff is edited. It was a little different. It was a little like less. You can tie so much of this to just like social media, YouTube, easily shareable videos. Getting like you can really gauge reactions on things now in such an easier way. If you watch a trailer and it gets, you can get the reaction to the trailer based on the fans. Like when you release a trailer, you can go watch thousands of hours of people giving you a real-time reaction. Was it good or not?
Yes, and you could look at the numbers, right? Like you look at the numbers for the Endgame trailer the next day, and it's like 25 million. The next day, it's like 38 million. You know, it's like
300 million in 24 hours, right?
Yeah,
I think it broke every record.
Just the one that it was like on Twitter, just that one, not like the main website. And it's like So you talk about achieving the perfect trailer now, and I think that there's like all these things about it. There's like this formula, right? And one of the biggest pieces of the formula is there doesn't need to really be the voice anymore. And I'm sure that guy's bummed.
They got rid of it. I mean, so if we were watching the No Country trailer and we realizing like it's just the stuff is written on the screen.
Yeah, because we can read.
Yeah, Brokeback did that, I think, the same kind of thing. Like the trailer is writing it. It's using dramatic music and it's writing the words, but it's not saying the words. You don't need to have a narrator. Like that guy who used to do all those trailers, like, A, I think he might be dead, but B, I think he's just out of work now.
Yeah, well, there was that documentary that came out about his daughter trying to get in the business. Yeah. And I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was all about it might be Coming to a Theater Near You or something. It's like something like that. Yeah. And it's about like basically the voiceover business and this guy's job. And I think the 90s one is my favorite also. Yeah. But it definitely does feel like it's just too much. Right?
Yeah. Well, the 90s one had this way of making movies that you never saw seem like movies you should have seen. Yeah. So I had never seen Congo till like 4 years ago. But Congo is like my favorite trailer of all time.
Oh,
I saw Snake Eyes.
So good.
Like 2 years ago.
Because of the trailer.
Because I talked about the Snake Eyes trailer.
I'm Ricky Santorum.
Yeah. I mean, for so long, like you think about these trailers that you remember seeing like a ton of times as a kid, and they're sweet, but like they make you feel like the movie was really exciting.
Oh yeah, like I loved it was almost like trailers then appealed to our demographic. Like it was like trying to make us as kids, like 14-year-olds, go see that movie instead. Because I almost feel like if I was an adult at the time in the mid-90s when these trailers were coming out, I might have been like, this is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
You know? And whereas as a kid, like when you're 14 and those are coming out, you're like, holy shit, this looks amazing.
Well, I think so again, we talk about that 07, There'll Be Blood's great, No Country's great. You start to get into Inception, and that's a big one where it starts to change. That sound effect, the big reveals, the big crazy imagery, there's no voiceover. It's just
they just keep saying like these crazy things. Like I remember, because I think I actually just watched it recently. And he's like, "You ever wonder like why in a dream you never remember getting anywhere? You're just there, and like you're like, I think about that all the time. I gotta watch this movie."
So I mean, like there's all these trailers that you can remember. Like so, some of them, Inception's a masterpiece, but you think about some of the others that are not good.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like Dark Knight. I was like, remember that one? That one was holy shit, blows your mind. So some of the ones like trailers that aren't good or movies that aren't good.
Movies that were mediocre, but the trailer was insane.
I mean, Prometheus is one of the greatest, right?
Such a good trailer, so exciting, so crazy.
Tree of Life was another huge one that was just like a beautifully, just amazing trailer. Even Life of Pi, a movie that's actually pretty good. Yeah. The trailer, again, it's like all these movies, the trailers are just so incredible.
Man of Steel, both trailers 2 and 3 for that film are amazing.
And I actually like Man of Steel more than most people, and I still believe that the trailers are better. They're so good.
Even Interstellar, which I absolutely loved. Interstellar trailer 2 is just amazing. It's just like so exciting.
I've watched that trailer. I can't even. I think probably over 100 times. Yeah. Star Trek 2009. Oh, great trailer. I actually love that movie.
You have no captain, no first mate to replace. Yeah, we do. It's like, oh God, I'm so excited. Captain Kirk. I don't even like Star Trek, but I just love that trailer.
Right. And then like you even go to some of the movies that aren't great. Like actually, well, the first Transformers is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Wolverine Origins.
Yeah. I know who you are, Gambit. Yeah. Yeah, so like all those movies, and you talk about so that's what's incredible is like you got to imagine those editors like are watching those and like this is not a good movie. This is not a good movie.
They have to find a way. Exciting.
And every single one of those movies, I think I saw in theaters because of the trailers.
Godzilla, when like Cranston is like, "That's my family in there."
Yes, you know, and even like. Hell, even Cloverfield was a big movie when it came out. The Cloverfield trailer was so intense,
insane, yeah,
crazy.
And then I think the modern era of trailer now, where these trailers are events and they are massive. That's where the world we're living in now is that there is enough game tape basically on these massive franchises that when you know a new trailer for Infinity War or like an MCU movie of any kind, of Star Wars movie is going to come out, they just can play. They can play with so much history And they have enough data now from the last 10 to 15 years of social media impressions to be like, okay, this is what works really well. So like take, for instance, the first Force Awakens trailer.
Right.
There's been an awakening. Right.
Do you feel it?
Do you feel it? And then he's like, the darkness and the light. And then it's pause. And then it's and the Falcon flies out.
Yeah, you're
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Just
even talking about it.
Oh God.
Yeah, like you're like, oh my God, I'm 10 years old again.
Yes.
Like it's the greatest thing. And then you talk about the movies that don't have any reference to them. So like some of the trailers that I've really liked the last couple of years, like Annihilation, I thought was really cool.
Great trailer,
Arrival, Life, these type of movies. And I think the reason they succeed in all those movies, Sicarios is actually pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
Why? Like what they're showing this. Like this level of like, or like what? It's like, again, I keep using this word intrigue because I feel like that's really what trailers now have become, is like highlighting the most intriguing things about the film, but then not showing you the payoff.
I also think, so a trailer that can capture the tone and feeling of the movie is a really, that's like, to me, sort of the gold standard.
Like, okay, so like Star is Born is a great example of that.
The trailer feels like the movie.
Yes.
You watch the trailer and it does not as sad as the movie, but it feels the romanticism, his singing,
you feel that something sad is there, like there's an emptiness.
They use the best song.
Yeah.
It's like that's one. Inception definitely captures the movie really well. The Wrestler, that trailer is amazing.
Oh God, that's such a great trailer.
That scene at the end of the Wrestler, of the trailer, when he's up on the thing, he's like, a lot of people told me I was never going to wrestle again. The only one who's going to stop me from doing my thing are you people right here. And you're like, oh my God. He's losing.
Well, Mickey Rourke will never do anything as good as that.
Never.
It was so perfect.
He's like 60 now or something.
Yeah. God, that was so good. Whiplash was great too. The film.
The film Whiplash.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that because how many trailers are there where it's like they actually make you want to cry? Like almost everyone that we've just mentioned.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. There was another one that gets me like every time I watch that.
I mean, the Warrior trailer still just slays me.
I love the Warrior trailer.
And that's also because of how much we love that movie.
What is the movie? I feel like there's a trailer that I've watched a zillion times that I just adore that we're not talking about, like we haven't referenced. But without because we're going to run long here if we keep going. I think the modern day, that is the Endgame trailer, the Infinity War, the first trailer, Force Awakens, these big franchise trailers, like the secret sauce is finding a way to not give away the movie, but communicate the tone of the movie. And you can do it with music, you can do it with dramatic moments.
Because I get upset when a movie when I'm like in a movie theater and I'm like, oh, this is about to happen. I know this is about to happen because they highlighted it so much in the trailer because it's such a cool moment, and now you've taken it away from me.
Right.
And like one of those moments, it's like it toes the line. Because I know we love the Fallout trailer. Yeah. The fist cock, right?
It's so good.
But in the movie, it falls completely flat.
Yeah.
Because in the trailer, it's so awesome.
Yeah, right.
They add in the sound effect and the cutting around it. It's still cool in the movie.
Don't you feel like Fallout, though, succeeded? It did capture the movie? I feel like Fallout...
Oh, no, I'm not saying it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I just mean like that's a moment where the trailer ruined a part of the movie for me.
You.
But that's because they made it sweeter in the trailer. Now, catching the vibe and the feel, totally, because like... So let's go to the other side of like music, right? This is like a big blockbuster film that has a music with lyrics, down with the sickness, like, whereas in like all the other indie films, it's just like, or like a sound, an orchestra.
Sure,
And I think that's also interesting is using music tonally in the sense of like, if you're going to do a blockbuster or a comedy, it needs to be like uplifting in a song we know, and you know,
and also like the songs can kind of date your movie. Like if you go back, we've talked about this before, but if you watch the trailer for Miami Vice and it's got Numb Encore, the Linkin Park Jay-Z mashup, and it just like feels like the most 2006 trailer ever. Like it just feels like that year.
That does feel like the most 2006 trailer ever.
Like Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx, the look of it. It's a Michael Mann film. All of those things. Like they're all like Colin Farrell is a distinctly different actor in today's world than he was in 2006. He's taken seriously as like an artist who's really good. He's not just like a sex symbol who is like drug addled. Jamie Foxx has been kind of exposed as a really good actor who's kind of a cock, it seems like, and isn't talented in everything he's in. But in 2006, it was like he had just had double Oscar noms. He had won Best Actor. He was a big deal.
He was like the biggest of deals.
Yeah, he wasn't doing Beat Shazam. Like it was just a different world. Like
and then so the other thing that we were talking about that disappeared is like this Christmas. We don't do that anymore.
They don't talk about the season. Yeah.
Do they do do they say the director of, or do they just the studio that brought you, or is they just show it on the screen in writing now? now.
They'll often say, like at the beginning, it'll be written on the screen from the director of Arrival and
Training
Sicario
Day.
or something. You know, and I think every rule we have here can be broken. Like you look at a movie like Instant Family. If I watched that trailer right now, it probably would say this, you know, this Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Probably. That guy, there are probably still of the voiceover trailers, but it's just an old style. It works well for family movies.
It was in every single trailer was essentially like this summer, this winter. It was always in. It was what needed to be said. Whereas like now it might be slipped in.
So as good as trailers are now, they're a different kind of art. Like Edge of Tomorrow is one of my favorite trailers. You know, I love that trailer. But you go back to those 90s trailers. So you go back, like my favorite 90s trailer is Congo. And like I just have seen it so many times, and it's like, you know, it like starts out, it's all like crazy. Whoa, there's a signal of an ape, and then it goes black.
Yep.
And then it's like two people jump out of the helicopter, and it's like, it would take two scientists deep into the heart of the African jungle.
Cut to Tim Curry, a diamond mine of incredible bounty.
All his lines are amazing. And then like when they're showing it, it's like, some would come to it for science, others for fortune. And,
Dun dun dun.
and then it cuts to Tim Curry. The myth of the killer ape is true.
Yeah, it's just, which is like they kind of in the 90s they actually were better than in the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah,
They figured out the perfect setup exposition with the narrator, intense, and then find a clip from the movie where the character answers or elaborates on it.
Oh, and you're forgetting about like one of the 90s beats where they would always wait till 3/4 into the trailer to give you the button one-liner.
Oh, right.
You know, like something about the ape, and Laura Linney's like, put him on the endangered species list. She's got the gun.
And then it'd be like, two scientists fight back. Yeah. It's the turn. The turn, if you will.
Exactly. So I think those are definitely like the modern era and the 90s era are the two best. And it makes sense evolutionarily that we would be here now. But you can distinctly say that the current era of movie trailer, they're like mini movies in themselves. Like they don't really have to. They feel like pieces of art on their own.
Do you think we're going to get to a point to where they go back again? Like in this, not like go back to what they used to be, but to where like the quality slips the way it felt like it did from 90s to mid 2000s? Like, do you think we have a moment again where it's like, I just don't like trailers anymore?
Well, they're going to continue to evolve. I think the one difference between the modern trailer and say even just 4 years ago is that so many of these trailers now need to catch your attention on social media. So there's the pre-roll of 6 seconds now that happens before every trailer, unless you are Infinity War,
right?
Where it's like quick shot, and then it says like Mission Impossible 6 trailer,
and then it goes to the trailer,
and that's so that you have the 5 or 6 seconds to click on the thing when it's scrolling through Twitter and actually hear the sound.
And I also hate the 30-second ones that they make out of like the big trailers to again like show up on Instagram video
and the
like,
TV spots.
Yeah, like I don't like the Endgame 30-second trailer.
They feel cheap, but that's where we are. So I guess we should really say that like the 2007 to 2015 era of trailers was like sort of the golden age, and it's just like everything else now where the only ones that get to live on their own as events are the big
massive ones.
Right.
Like the biggest movies out there.
Yeah, just like anything else. They're the only movies that get to open on the weekend they want to open and have the actors they want with the budgets they want. Everything else has to play by the rules of the studio system because, like, nobody has the money.
Right. Like, you're not going to pay an editor millions of dollars to make an awesome trailer for your $10 million indie action movie. Yeah. It just doesn't work.
No one's going to see The Hitman's Bodyguard, so let's not spend money on the trailer.
That's fair. Yeah. Very fair. I mean, I know it's definitely a short episode, but it's honestly just us talking about trailers, and I think...
No, I think we covered it.
I think you, first of all, if you haven't seen every single trailer we talked about on the show, you need to watch every one because they're all so good.
Yeah, and you'll totally get a lot of the references, and I guarantee you'll find it funny if you're a fan of this type of shit because these are the ones that have stuck with us, movie fans that have spent our whole adult lives talking about movies.
Yeah. And watching a lot of trailers and seeing that they're... Because this idea stemmed from the idea of like seeing a cool trailer and being like, oh my God, we've talked about the evolution and the generations of trailers for 3 years. Yeah. We've never actually just broken... We always just talk about our favorite trailers.
I think this is probably a part one episode because I think that the part 2 of this episode that we'll probably do at some point is like a top 10 trailers episode. God. I think that's just a different episode.
Just us literally us geeking the fuck out.
And we can talk about our fist bump moment from each trailer. I think that's probably another episode we'll do at some point.
I like that a lot.
Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, this has been The Action Guys. If you want to follow along with me personally, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media.
You guys can find me at Andrew Ghai. Make sure to click like, subscribe, like.
Make sure it's a new button.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are on this. What are some of your favorite trailers? Is something we didn't mention in there that you guys love? Again, we try to read all the comments and respond as best that we can. And maybe if there's a voice that we're forgetting that you guys adore, like link the trailer and we'll go and watch it.
Totally. Yeah, guys. And last but not least, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/teamaction. It's where Drew and I do behind the scenes. We do trailer reactions. We do Schmodown behind the scenes recaps of matches that we were both in and not in.
Yep.
We do like miniature reviews of movies, like all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out, patreon.com/teamaction. There's a whole level of tiers. If you guys donate at a higher level, we do personal Skype calls and stuff like that. So,
or you can just pick a movie that we cover on our show. We've had many people do that. We're covering
Revenge of the Sith. Richard Eric Jarvie, a general in the army. We salute you, General.
Yeah, and make sure Apple Podcast and Podcast One.
Yeah,
click that download button.
Yeah, and subscribe, of course, to the Collider Podcasts feed on YouTube. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back.